Too much. Better. That's good. Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone here to our pinning ceremony, our progression ceremony for clinical progression of our DPT students. My name is Dr. Patrick Pabian. I'm the director of the physical therapy program and chair of the physical therapy department. So I want to welcome you all today. This is actually our inaugural event for doing this. And I'm really excited that we can create new traditions through what we're doing here today. The faculty and I feel that this is a really good opportunity to take a collective pause, reflect on where the students have been, and also celebrate those accomplishments, yet also look forward to the future of what they're going to do in the next year and a half of this curriculum. First off, we have a lot of family, friends, other significant others here, and I want to acknowledge you. Your friend, your son, your daughter, they're here because of you. You put them in this position. You fostered their growth. You've cultivated their ability to succeed. And I want to acknowledge that you are the ones who really have put your person up for success. And it's our duty as faculty to ensure that we keep that momentum moving forward. So first and foremost, thank you. Let's think about what these students have done. They've been here for all of, less than 2 years? And they've completed 71 credit hours of coursework. 71. That's a tremendous amount of work that has been done. That's beyond a typical master's degree. We have another year and a half to make them doctors of physical therapy. To the students, first and foremost, we're confident in you. You got this, and we know you can do this. We're here. We've been here to help, and we're invested in your success through the next year and a half and beyond. You have the resources and strength of the faculty and other students, our alumni, and the power of UK behind you. This is a process. Trust the process. God, I hate that saying, right? Trust the process. It's a process. You're going to fail, but you're going to grow. You'll have great successes and you'll have tremendous failures in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. But what's important is you view this as a continuum of your growth. You're going to continue to grow, and you're going to continue on your trajectory as long as you kind of reflect on where you've been, what you know, and what you can persevere through. What resources do you have? You have us. You have each other. You're going to go and evaluate patients really quick. You're going to get into people's lives. You're not going to know answers. That's fine. You're not supposed to know all the answers. If you want the answers, that's what Dr. Malone's for. He's got the answers. But you're going to be challenged, not only with your knowledge, but with people. Patients, colleagues, superiors, subordinates, other providers, patients' moms and dads, patients' children. They're going to challenge you in ways that you can't even imagine and that we can't simulate. We got people to deal with. And you're here in this program and in this profession because we know you have what it takes to help manage these individuals, to consider what they're going through, to learn, and again, using your resources. You can't only rely on your knowledge alone. You have to find ways to work with others and work with us and seek out those opportunities for your own growth. I need you to aim high. Aim high. Get to the highest standards. Hold yourself to those highest standards, not only in conduct, but also your own initiative. Again, because you're going to need to take initiatives upon yourself to learn, to figure out solutions, and to best help your patients. After all said and done, I think I go back to what I tell my 11-year-old son and his baseball team. Been telling him this for years. And we always said the same thing to the kids. Attitude and effort. It's two things you can control. You can control your attitude, you can control your effort. So ask yourself every day, like, have I put forth my best effort? Have I approached things with the best attitude? It works in 11-year-old baseball. It worked when they were 10, it worked when they were 8. I think it works for you guys too. Again, those are just what I have off the top of my head for now. More to come, and there's more growth for all of you. Let's look at this event as a pause, a moment in time, but most importantly, a celebration. You guys got this. I got you. The faculty have you. Your family and friends who are here have you. Those who aren't here but are here in spirit, they got you too. Have confidence in yourself, and you'll do well. We're sure of it. We're vested in it. So next, as far as seeking out new traditions, we've chosen to involve a comment from the students. And so we have students embedded and involved in this, and then we have others involved as well that kind of bring this home into a UK event, not just the faculty speaking with you. So the next speaker that we have here is Casey Skeens, who's the president of the Lexington campus, and she's going to take a few words to speak to you all. Casey.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Again, this is our inaugural event. Our class really pushed to be able to have this, and our faculty agreed. So we're really excited. I know there are a lot of people from out of town that came in for this event. So we appreciate you coming in to celebrate with us today. This week was quite a lot, and I think that everyone in the room can agree. And those of you that are here that love us, you probably know how rough this week was. Lots of tears, lots of coffee, lots of energy drinks. It's all come to pass and everyone succeeded, but those are just some of the things that are in the life of a PT student. I know that everyone is excited to go off into clinic and take the next 9 weeks to kind of rejuvenate and really start to see what it's going to be like as a practicing physical therapist. I myself am excited. I do not have to take another doctoral practical, but he knows that. It's exciting to go out for the next 9 weeks, but with going out, we will not see each other every single day, which I think is going to be an adjustment after being together for the last almost 2 years. 2 years ago, if you would have said we've learned this much, I probably wouldn't have believed you at first. I think Dr. Franklin said physical therapy students learn more new words their entire career than any other medical profession, which I just can't believe that. But it's exciting to be out in the clinic, to be treating patients. But in this room are the lifelong friendships that we have built and of what have carried us through PT school. I know myself, I couldn't have done it without my group of friends, without my classmates, without my faculty, because I know that they believe in me and they want me to succeed. So, as I will miss being on campus and miss getting candy from Nancy's desk, I'm excited to kind of see what the future holds. And I know all of us are going to just crush it on our clinical experiences and come back, as Dr. Lee said, completely new people, transformed. that we won't even look like the same people we were when we left. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you for supporting us on this journey.
Our next speaker, we wanted to engage a newer alumni. I guess we can say newer, it's been 5 years-ish. So we want to engage an alumni, someone who can speak to you from being in your exact shoes, in these exact places. So the faculty have chosen to invite Dr. Matt Fitch, class of 2017. Matt.
That's a great picture, by the way. Well, good evening, everybody. So my name is Matt Fitch. I am a graduate of the UKPT program in 2017, and I currently live and work in Nicholsville, Kentucky, and I'm in outpatient orthopedics. And when I was thinking about tonight and about what I was going to say, and I think about the ceremony, it's really a celebration in an important time in your careers, as you primarily were a consumer of knowledge from this stage for this stage back. But now you're going to make a product of what you're going to be as a physical therapist when you get out into the clinic. And I remember being in your shoes not too long ago and thinking about how excited I was to take what I was learning and say, Dr. Hazel, I would have made you proud today. And take what I was seeing in the clinic and reverberate that back to what was my professors were teaching me in class. And I also remember how terrified I was to be in front of patients, like to actually be talking to a person and saying, how can I help you? And this person might be crying because they hurt so bad, or they might have a knee replacement, and I've got to get them back to life. I was also terrified of, what if I didn't know the answer to a question, which I still don't to everything, and what if I didn't know the answer to a question that my instructor asked of me, which is kind of why it's fun now being the instructor to ask those questions. But at the end of the day, I was kind of thinking about this time, and I remember something that Dr. Tony English said in class, and I can't say that I remember the exact quote, but we were talking one day, and he said, in the beginning of my career, I have no idea why anybody ever came back to see me, because I have no idea how I actually got somebody better. And I remember sitting in that class thinking, oh my gosh, that is terrifying to hear as a student, right? Like, I hope I don't feel like that. But I actually did. I got out of the clinic and I said, my goodness, like I've taken 3 years to figure out how to help somebody, and I didn't know that. And that ultimately led me to my clinical pathway, which, if you ask my wife, was quite psychotic. I took a couple of years and I did a residency program through my company, which is a year-long process of hundreds of hours of mentoring and further education. And when I got done with that, I realized, this is really where I wanted to be. I felt like I had better answers, but I still had a lot of questions. So I pursued even more, and I did a fellowship through Northwestern University, graduated last month. And now that I'm done with that, I finally feel like I can have better answers to people's questions, but I still don't have all of the answers. And the famous response of, it depends. Come on, you guys. You love that, right? It depends. I still have those moments, and there's still a lot of gray areas out there, but it's fun. And when I think about this time where you guys are at now, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I think that's what's so fun and unique about our profession, is that no matter what clinical route you choose, whether it was to follow what I did or to follow your own pathway, we each get to follow our own pathway. There's not one clinical pathway you have to walk down. There's no corporate ladder you have to climb to get to the best or to the top spots. When I was talking to my classmates about this, many of them started off in places they never thought they would be. Some were in acute care, and they were treating people in the hospital. Now they're in outpatient orthopedics, and some people were in ortho and went to neuro, and some people were in peds and went to ortho. Like, that's what's lovable about our profession, and you should be encouraged moving forward that the one common theme that all of my classmates and I talked about was that we felt like our foundation that we got from UK's PT program was so good and so concrete that we could take those giant leaps of faith, basically, in our career and be able to make those changes week to week, basically, and say, I want to do this with my life. And we all felt like we had the backbone to do that, and we had the courage to do so because of the program that we had here. So you should be encouraged with that moving forward. I'll leave you with a comment kind of as a global thing. I like self-reflection, and I had a student one time, and his name was Ben Fisher, if any of you guys know Ben Fisher. wonderful human being. He was a great student, and he's now a great PT. And one day in the clinic, he was just dragging his feet. He just felt like, man, I just don't have the answers today. And you could tell he was in a bad mood at the end of the day. And I said, Ben, let's take a time out. What's going on? He said, man, I just felt like I didn't have the answers. I said, that's all right. I said, think about it from a 10-foot view. We saw 10 people today. Of those 10 people, how many people do you legitimately think we helped in some way? You could tell he pondered it for a minute. He said, I think we could make the case we helped all 10 today. He said, I think we helped Joe get up the stairs, and we helped Susie lift a 10-pound weight so maybe she can hold her new grandbaby. And I said, Ben, that's how you have to look at every day when you're in the clinic. You're going to have those moments where you don't have the answers, and I certainly still don't. But you have to look at it from a 10,000-foot view, and you have to self-reflect on those moments and say, every day I go to work, I get the opportunity to make a positive impact on somebody's life. And that's a unique thing. Not everybody can say that. And my final comment to Ben was, Ben, if I told you that every day for the rest of your career, you got to help make somebody's life a better life, would you call that a successful one? He said, yeah. And I said, that's exactly how you have to look at every moment when you're a physical therapist. And I think that's what's really unique about our profession is we get to go home self-fulfilled every day and say, I got to make an impact on somebody's life in my community in a positive way. That's where I was going to end, but Dr. Hazel wanted me to remind all of you guys that you still have a year and a half to go. He literally texted me 10 minutes before I got up here, so had to include that. But thank you, guys.
Our next speaker is our keynote speaker. And for this, we chose to invite the former chair and program director, Tony English.
This is my first keynote address ever. Now, I've talked to students a lot, but I've never done a keynote address before. Dr. Johnson told me that he wanted me to have about, I don't know, did you say 45 minutes or so? That's what I thought I heard. So I'm going to start it off like you start off keynote addresses. UK faculty, class of 2024, friends and family, good evening. I really do appreciate being asked to speak to you guys. You're going to move now from this academic time where you've been kind of starting to get tired and getting into that first full-time clinical. It's a really special time for you. You probably, and I also feel really fortunate that I'm able to follow the previous three speakers because they have all said things that I wanted to say. So it's really kind of cool because the things that I'll talk about, you can reflect back and see that Matt Fitch said the same thing. Dr. Pabian said the same thing. Casey's spoken about it too, so it's been great. But you're going to have a mixture of feelings. You're going to be excited. You're getting out in the clinic, but you're also going to be nervous, just like Matt said. I don't know if I know all the answers. You don't have to know the answers. It's normal for you to feel that way. So take that as it is. You're prepared. Dr. Pabian said it. Your faculty has met and they've said it. So you're ready. They've prepared you for this particular clinical. You'll have more to follow. You're going to become a really good PT, I know, because the faculty is invested in you. Now, I was asked to speak to you today. Dr. Johnson gave me some instructions. He wanted me to remind you of some key things that you've learned in your pathway so far in the year and a half you've been here. Core values, code of conduct. And then I'm going to share some stuff that I've experienced and observed over my lifetime too as a physical therapist, 45 years into it. It's especially important for you to embark on all of these concepts as you embark on or to keep in mind these concepts as you embark on your career. One thing I'd like for you to do is to recognize the efforts of your excellent faculty, that they've used their knowledge, their skills to really prepare you. And I think that's something that I'd like for you to recognize and respect. They're dedicated, they're excellent educators, and they're very well respected nationally and internationally. Not only do you have a great faculty on both campuses here at Hazard and in Lexington, but you also have a clinical education team that has worked tirelessly to help identify and cultivate excellent clinical instructors for you in the clinic. Your clinical instructors volunteer their time to share their experience with you. What a gift that is. What a gift it is to have Matt Fitch, with all the knowledge he has, volunteering to work with you. It's awesome. So remember to respect those efforts of both the academic and clinical faculty. They're committed, just as you are, to help you become that great physical therapist that you want to be. Now, you all know, you've learned about this, the APTA's come up with 9 core values everybody's supposed to abide by. I want to reflect on those just for a minute or two, and also give you a little bit of a snippet of what I think they all mean. Accountability. That's you being actively accepting of the responsibilities of being a physical therapist. Actively accepting that. Altruism. Placing the needs of your patients above your own self-interest. I find that that's tough to do sometimes. End of the day, you get a call, new patient needs to come in. It's like, oh man, I was going to go home, but maybe I need to stay and help this person. Those are things you have to think about. Altruism. Collaboration. You're going to work together with a healthcare team that includes all the healthcare practitioners with you, but also it includes your patient and their caregivers. Don't forget the whole team, collaborating to work towards the shared goals that you've helped establish. Compassion and caring. You want to be able to identify with somebody else's, your patients most of the time, experience and demonstrate concern and empathy for the needs and values of other people. So showing that compassion and caring is going to go a long way in helping you be able to develop rapport with your patients and develop that authentic physical therapist that you're going to be. Duty is another one, and that's the commitment to provide excellent physical therapy to help your patients and advance our profession. Excellence. You're going to use the current knowledge that you have and that we've established as a profession to be the best PT you can be. You also need to understand your limitations because you have them. I have them. We all have limitations. So understand what those are and be honest about that. And also be a lifelong learner. That helps us continue to advance our profession and gives us that new knowledge that we might need. That's all part of excellence. Inclusion is another one that's really important. Creating a welcoming and equitable environment for everybody. A safe place that's open for all the people that you're going to see, because you're going to see people from all walks of life. Integrity. Upholding high ethical standards. Being truthful. Ensuring fairness. And finally, social responsibility. Those of you that have grown up in a small town, you know that when you go into the hardware store, you go into the grocery store, the folks that are there, they know who you are. I grew up in a small town. I know that. I worked in my same hometown, small town, as a physical therapist. And so if I was not socially responsible, if I was not taking care of people, if I was not accountable and providing excellent care, and when I went into the grocery store there at the HEB, because that's what it's called. I heard a fellow on the TV here, he called it the HEB, whenever he heard about it. But it's HEB, that's the grocery store chain in Texas. They knew who I was, and I had to be accountable for that. So that's important for you to think about. And that happens all over. You have communities in big towns and little towns. That's a lot to consider. Just those things are a lot to consider. But I think it's important for you to internalize those and be ready to be a committed patient advocate, to give people the care that you wish your family would get from their caregivers. Think about that, your loved ones. And you've all experienced that in some way, shape, or form. Now, I reviewed your code of conduct that you developed back in the fall of 21. Right? Okay. Yep, I reviewed it. And I found that you did a pretty good job of coordinating your individual desires of how you wanted to be as a professional with the APTAs. And so I came up with I just wanted to mention some of the phrases that I gathered from looking at that document. Accountability, we already talked about that. Respect, one of the big ones, and Aretha Franklin said it best. Be responsible for your own actions. Really important to own those things that you do. Being open to receiving help. Dr. Pabian mentioned this. The faculty's here for you. Your clinical instructors are here for you. You don't have to know everything. Ask for help when you need it. Encouraging and supporting the people around you, each other. You know, it's not a case, you were right, you're not going to see each other every day. But every one of you has one of these things. So you can encourage and support each other that way. Uphold the professional standards, another good thing. Be open-minded and to varying opinions and views. I have too much to say to do some of the funny things I'm going to do, but I'm going to do one of them right now. I saw Yo-Yo Ma play over at the Norton Center one time, and after he finished a sheet of music, he just did that. I might do that the rest of the time. Be a lifelong learner. Be a lifelong learner and commit to excellence. Those are all things that you guys came up with. Very, very well meshes with the APTA. What I would like to do is challenge you to reflect on both the core values of the APTA and your code of conduct. Do that before you go to the clinic on Monday. Identify the times then that you upheld those. Think about them. And also identify sometimes maybe where you fell a little short. That's how you grow. That's how you learn, by reflecting on those behaviors and those actions that you've taken. So see if you can do that. That'd be a good thing to do. Now I want to tell you a little cautionary tale. I told you I'd been a physical therapist for 45 years, so that means I'm pretty old. So I don't know a lot about, well, I do know stuff about technology, but it wasn't around whenever I was here, whenever I first got started. So I'm going to read you something. In physical therapy, you will have the opportunity to work with a diverse range of patients, each with their unique needs and challenges. It will be your responsibility to treat each individual with empathy, respect, and professionalism, while also providing them with the highest quality of care. As you begin your clinical rotations, you will undoubtedly encounter obstacles and uncertainties. But remember, every experience is an opportunity to learn and grow as a healthcare professional. Remain curious, ask questions, and seek guidance from your mentors and colleagues. Together, we can continue to advance the field of physical therapy and improve the health outcomes of our patients. A cautionary tale. So when Dr. Johnson asked me to do this talk, I had just been hearing a lot about the new artificial intelligence programs that are out there. And so I thought, well, why don't I just use one? So I used one to write my speech. I said, I'd like to have a paragraph. I've typed in one paragraph introducing a talk to physical therapy students about to go in the clinic. So the AI that I used gave me 4 paragraphs, and it gave it to me in a letter format, so dear students, and then, signed by me. So it made me think, you have all kinds of resources. You have your faculty and all the stuff that your faculty's given you. But there's also all types of resources for you when you get stuck with a patient. You don't know what to do. There's podcasts, there's websites, there's all types of Twitter, that's what it is. There's all those things that you can work with. It's all great. But remember what you've been taught. Peer-reviewed material is the best way for you to really be thinking about that. So make sure that if you are listening to a podcast, it's been peer-reviewed. It's accurate information. Just be cautious about that. Be discerning. It's really important to do that. So that's enough about that. Read the literature. That's important. So I've received 4 paragraphs instead of just 1. So, you never know what you're going to get. But what they said was pretty good. Now for my advice to you. There are some key characteristics that I've observed over the years, and I think these will serve you well if you can think about them. Prepare. Every day, go into the clinic prepared for what you're going to be doing. It's good to anticipate the patients that you might be seeing and make sure you've got things in order. But you don't want to only prepare. You also want to learn from your patients and from your colleagues and your clinical instructors, and you have to be flexible. How many of us who are physical therapists now, you get that patient with a particular diagnosis and you think, got it, yeah, ankle sprain, no problem. Go right in there and it's somebody that's completely different than what you thought. They present so differently, and you have to be nimble. You can't have this regimented script that you're going to follow. You have to be able to adjust. So make sure you do that. And you're going to learn. You're going to learn from everybody. Your patients will tell you a lot. Listen and connect with your patients. Listen and connect with your colleagues. Be attentive. Be there for them. Try to understand their perspective and meet them where they are. Be compassionate, caring, and non-judgmental. That's a tough one sometimes. You'll see somebody who comes in with diabetes and you'll think, well, they've been eating too much or they don't take care of themselves. Push that stuff to the side. Don't be a judger on that stuff. Treat people where they are. Respect. Respect your patients, respect your colleagues, respect everybody. If you show respect to other people, they'll respect you. The human touch. As physical therapists, you have a pretty unique role in healthcare where you get to use your hands on people to help them get better. You might give them a little support for their posture as they're trying to walk. You may do a mobilization or manipulation to help them recover range of motion. But you're going to have your hands on people, and that's different than a lot of other people have in healthcare. So keep that in mind. The patients that you see, and I think Matt said something about this, the patients you see are going to hurt, they're going to be sick, they're not going to feel well. And then they've got to come to you. They've got to take time out of their schedule to come and see you. Or they're in the hospital, and they're losing out on things. And they're not in what I like to call their home court. You think about basketball. The home court's a lot more comfortable. They're in your court, unless you're doing home health. So keep that in mind and try to understand where they're coming from and also give them value for the care that you're giving them. High value. That'll bring them back. I don't remember saying what Matt said about, I don't know how anybody ever came back to see me, but I'm sure I felt that way. And it's been 6 years since I said it, probably more than that. And I have a friend who's given me a couple of examples of things that I think are important for you to think about. One, he told me that when he was getting physical therapy, he realized that the therapist did an excellent job of helping the patients get through their episode of care while they were there in the clinic. But he wondered what training we give students to help them encourage their patients to continue activity and to continue to be exercising after the episode of care. Trans-theoretical model of behavior change, right? Motivational interviewing. You get it, so use it. Don't forget to do that. This is something he observed just in his clinical experience. Another of my friends told me that this goes into using evidence-informed practice. Okay, so make sure you're using the evidence. Very important. And expert opinion is part of that. So your clinical instructor may not have written a paper, but they've had a lot of experience, so that can really be helpful too. Using functional outcome tools and measurement can be really essential, not only for you getting paid for what you're doing to show progress, but you can also use it as an educational tool with your patients. So my friend's wife had a stroke, and early in her rehab, they did a Berg balance scale test with them and determined what her score was. And a few weeks later, they did it again. And they were able to show her that she made a pretty significant change, much better, still at a fall risk, but much better. And then said, and if you get past this level, you'll be less of a fall risk. And they took that home with them, and that really made them happy with their situation. So use functional outcomes and measurements. Now, these last two things that I want to mention to you, I think they're really important. I hope that I've been able to do them in my career. The first one is having humility. Being humble is probably one of the most important characteristics that we can have both professionally and personally. I think it's important to be your authentic self. You know, don't try to be somebody you're not. Humility is having a realistic sense of who you are. We shouldn't think too highly of ourselves or too lowly of ourselves. You know, you're going to go out on your first clinical experience, so you could be thinking, well, I don't know very much. You know more than you think. You don't know everything, so you shouldn't think too highly of yourself either. We've got to be honest and realistic about who we are and what we are. I came up with, I did some internet searching, came up with some ways that you can work on your humility if that's something you think you need to work on. Spend time listening to other people. Just listen. Practice mindfulness and focus on the present. Be grateful for what you have. Ask for help when you need it. This is probably the fourth time that you've heard that among all the speakers. Seek feedback from others on a regular basis. And finally, review your actions against the language of pride. So if you can work on those things, I think that'll help you with your humility. And the last point that I wanted to make, and Dr. Cooperstein, I'll bring you up in this because I've been her coach in this particular area for over 35 years. Have a sense of humor and use it appropriately. Now, you can make jokes. I told one student back in 1998, because he brings it up to me all the time whenever he talks to me, that you go out on the humor limb, if you're thinking about a tree, going out on the humor limb, and you can say something you think is kind of funny. If you go a little too far, that limb breaks off, and then it's not so funny anymore. So don't do that. But have some fun with your patients. That makes therapy and learning so much easier. Makes it so much easier. I encourage you to find ways to laugh a little bit. Maybe think of some fun activities that are therapeutic. Dr. Cooperstein seen me dance with people before. I had taught a lady how to waltz because she wanted to do that for her 25th wedding anniversary with her husband after she'd had a stroke. Dancing, playing games, playing ball, anything you like. Also, think about what the patient likes to do in their hobbies. Incorporate that into what you do too. That'll make it more fun. And I want to close with this. Thank you for choosing this noble profession, and I wish you all the best in your clinical practice. Congratulations on completing your education to this point and entering the exciting world of clinical practice. As you embark on this new journey, it is important to remember why you chose this path in the first place: to help people heal and improve their quality of life. That's pretty good too. Was that artificial intelligence? Or was it Tony English? I'll leave that to you. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. English. Next, we'll have the presentation of the pins. The department has gotten pins to commemorate and be an emblem of this moment in time for the students. And as the students receive these, I would really like all of the students to really reflect on the emblematic nature of this and knowing that this is to represent your progression and what you have in your future, but also the connectivity to each other and the faculty. So I'll invite Chris Burpo, the class president for the Center for Excellence in Rural Health Campus, and Dr. Deb Kelly.
Oh, geez, I didn't know they were going to put that up there. Oh, yeah, sure. Good evening, and Hey, Mom. She's back home watching on the live stream, so I just want to say a quick shout out to her. My name is Chris Burpo. I'm the president of the Hazard Campus for the class of 2024, and this is Dr. Kelly, and we're going to be doing the presentation of pins. You ready? Alrighty. If you guys could come up on this side of the stage whenever I call your name. Oh. Okay. Alrighty. First up is Tyler Beck. Emily Bennett. Jackson Boggs. Michael Bowdy. Marion Boyko. Jennifer Brockman. Andrew Carter. Kelsey Castle. Sierra Cattler. Morgan Chaperon. Kaylee Clark. Megan Claypool. Hannah Cleveland. Catherine Crabtree. Matthew Crawford. Miriam Hayden Dones. Ruzi Jorgov. Cameron Elder. Jordan Frage. Jared Golden. Matthew Hagan. Hadley Hammer. Maddie Hancock. Lauren Harshbarger, Andy Hickey, Elizabeth Holland, Matthew Hyatt, Ellie Jury, Elise Katz, Natalie Clyer, Trenton Letcher, Dalton McCoy, Kristen Meese, Bryson McKee, Maddie Meredith, Bailey Miller, Emmanuel Mora, Caitlin Mullaney, Aaliyah Nix, Lauren No, Claire Parker, Madison Polly, Callie Pearl, Elizabeth Powell, Allie Preby, Catherine Raleigh, Becca Reisner, Sydney Rudd, Julia Sager, Olivia Schalk, Casey Skeens. Colin Smith. Griffin Schneider. Zachary Stump. Tyler Sutton. Stephen Tang. Amy Thomason. Catherine Wesley. Abigail Whitman. Leah Wright. And Hannah Young.
Next, we'll have a recitation of the oath of physical therapy for all of the students in the room who've just received their pins. We'll have Morgan and Elizabeth come up, and all the students please stand and follow through with the oath.
All right, so you all are going to repeat after us, and it's on the back of the pamphlet if you need it. As a physical therapist dedicated to providing the highest quality of care and services, I solemnly pledge I will.
Respect the rights and dignity of all individuals who seek my services or with whom I work.
Act in a compassionate and trustworthy manner in all aspects of my service.
Exercise sound professional judgment while abiding by legal and ethical requirements.
Demonstrate integrity during interactions with colleagues, other healthcare providers, students, faculty, researchers, the public, and payers for the enhancement of patient care and the advancement of the profession.
Enhance my practice through lifelong acquisition and application of knowledge, skills, and professional behavior.
Participate in efforts to meet physical therapy and healthcare needs of local, national, and global communities.
Thus, with this oath, I accept the duties and responsibilities that embody the physical therapy profession.
That was flawless. Next, I'm going to invite up Dr. Kara Lee, the Director of Clinical Education, to deliver the clinical charge.
Okay, you know I'm going to get a panoramic picture of you guys to put up on social media because that's what you expect. So everybody, are we ready? Smile. Dr. J, you can't hide. All right. Welcome, everybody. Families, friends, other supporters. Maya. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate everything you've done. It's been, like the student said, a long week, and there have been long moments and short days, and you look back and think, have we already been here a year and a half? So I need to take a couple shout outs. I did not pay Matt Fitch to talk about self-reflection, but I'm grateful that he did. You know, it's not just me. I believe that Dr. Tony English may have said that as well. We've had lots of great messaging so far today, and I hope you feel celebrated after feeling maybe a little depleted in moments, right? But it's been a long journey, and you've got much more to do. So you're all here, long days, long nights, semesters that have both drawn on and flown by, and what messaging could we possibly use to send you out into the world? Because you're going lots of different places and doing lots of different things in these next 9 weeks. We're here to mark your accomplishments and your transition from the world of the didactic to a more clinical application of your knowledge with all these patients you're going to learn from and the CIs and other clinicians you'll learn from. And we're going to talk about pens, right? Because that's what we're here with, the symbol of pens. Specifically, we're going to talk about the point of a pen, but I have to tell a story because that's what I've been taught by Tony English through the years. So a few years ago, when we got our annual flu shots, we had a pin that we had to stick through our name badge. You know the plastic name badge thing? And they never stayed on well. The back would pop off, and then you lose your pin, and then if you went certain places in the hospital, they would look at you funny and make you put a mask on and be like, I got the shot, I just don't have my pin anymore. And so we were talking about this in a conversation in the office, and of course, Dr. Malone had a word for this. The pin backs did not have enough capturement. Okay, so we have a Dr. Malone term. You can tell every story has to refer back to Dr. Malone at some point because his influence is far-reaching. But we hope that as you get out into the clinics, these pins may remind you, do you have enough reach? If you don't, how will you get that reach? Are you sharp enough in your skills and your clinical reasoning? We all know that the first clinical, you won't be as sharp as you want to be, but you can keep getting sharper. We hope that you have the capturement to fit the need in front of you. I'm not cool enough to throw my papers down when I'm done, so I'm going to keep going. All right? Or I haven't earned it, maybe. Like the Gatorade, I didn't earn it. Peyton Manning would knock it out of my hands. So it's hard to predict all the needs that the people who are going to come seeking your care are going to have. As healthcare providers, we're given the opportunity to learn about our patients who come to us with some form of vulnerability, as everyone has referenced. They're not their best when they're coming to us. They're their best probably when they leave us, right? If we've done things well. So as you transition into this new phase of your professional life, you accept the responsibilities of the physical therapy profession. I'm just going to say there are lots of cookies that we're going to get after all these phones going off. That's our rule. If the phone goes off, you have to make cookies. But except I tell them, you don't want me to make you anything, and I had it on for Clin Ed reasons. Always. All right. So advocacy is one of those things that is part of our responsibility. So one way that you can advocate is to make the world more accessible to all, whatever that may mean with the people that you're working with. You know that my lens is pretty neuro in life, so that's a lens that I look through, but that's not the only lens. That's just the one that I've used the most. Today, actually, March 30th is a day that people across the U.S. and the globe are celebrating the life and impact that Judith Heumann had on civil rights for people with disabilities. So Judy Heumann was a lifelong advocate for the rights of disabled people. In 1949, she contracted polio. She lived in Brooklyn, New York, great accent, and she used a wheelchair for mobility, not necessarily something that a lot of people did in 1954-ish, 55-ish, when she was sick. So when she wanted to go to school, they considered her a fire hazard. So later in life, she was denied her teaching license after she passed oral boards, written exams, but failed a medical exam. So she sued the Board of Education and went on to become the first wheelchair user to become a teacher in the state of New York. So Judy just passed away at the beginning of the month, and I sent something out to you all. I know my emails are not always read, but I'm hoping that one person opens it up and has maybe a conversation at lunch, right? Or wherever. So without Judy, what do? Hit it, Dr. J. I want everybody to take out your devices. Did it unhide yet? Can you unhide it on yours? Because I didn't really have a good tech. What were we just saying about that? So if you go to the last slide, like in the presentation, can you unhide that, por favor? I tried, but I don't know if I had a good link. There we go. Awesome. Take out your devices, because now you got them. You're going to scan this, all right? And this is going to lead you to a site that will help you take action. Right now may not be the moment, but some of the ideas of figuring out how to advocate for others to think about Judy Heumann is to maybe read her memoir, Being Human. Now, that's her last name, Heumann, but we can all see she used her name for an excellent double entendre there. The Unrepentant Memoir of a Disability Rights Activist. Or, has anyone seen Crip Camp on Netflix? Of course, Dr. Kitzman and I have. Great, great movie to help you get the idea of what was it like before all the things that you all have lived with your whole life, students, the ADA, American Disabilities Act, in Section 504. There's a TED Talk that she delivered in 2016, Our Fights for Disability Rights and Why We're Not Done Yet. Maybe this appeals to you. Comedy Central's Drunk History in early 2018. She's been interviewed by Trevor Noah, right, on the show. So you've got this. Scan this, take action. This is symbolic of your new role in the PT profession. Hopefully something that's going to become integral to you. You're going to figure out ways to do this. And if ever you don't feel like you have a way to do this, Dr. Kitzman and I can usually point you towards some advocacy. Now, you guys are always big on the photos, right? It's good. That's how you can prove you were there and it really happened. I hope that these photos you're inevitably going to take tonight and that we have had taken for us, that when you look back on them in a few days, a few months, a few years, you know, how are you going to view them? I hope that you look back and see somebody who had no idea what was ahead of them, because there's so many opportunities that are out there. And I hope that for each of those stages that you count as you look back, that you see that was the best time you have had in your life to that point. Got to go back to the pins. Thank you. And I don't want to hear from any of your CIs or site coordinators while you're out there in a bad way. No, I'm joking. Go out there, have fun. We hope to see you at midterm, or at least we'll call. Thank you.
So in close, to the students, you can reflect on your pointiness of your pin and the capturement of the backing. What I want you to do is have these pins somewhere that you see every day, whether it's on your badge. If they don't allow that, put it on your lanyard. If you can't do that, put it in your car. So when you're driving to your clinical, you see this pin. Because I want you to see it, and I want you to realize that symbolizes each other. That symbolizes UK, that symbolizes the faculty, that symbolizes your family and friends who are here today. And I hope you recognize that there are strong arms around you in this journey, and that's all of us. So, thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Parents, family, friends, recognize that these individuals are gonna go out and have the opportunity to impact patient lives, and that's so powerful. That gives me great pride to see what they're going to do, and I hope that does for you as well. I invite everyone to stay for a dessert reception and socialization with each other. This will conclude our event. Thank you all for coming.